So what we have, right, is the ability to put together an interface like this. Oops, not like that. That was the other one. So we can run things like this. We can start creating objects and interfaces. And once we create the interface, all that's left is to tie that to the functions that actually do the program for you. And so that's not super difficult. But as you may have gotten the sense, creating a detailed interface like this can be kind of time consuming. Okay. And this is one area, creating interfaces in TK interface is one area where I think ChatGPT can be massively useful for prototyping, because rather than take the time to hand create all of these little interfaces, let me show you a trick that I think is really useful. Okay, so I'm going to use the ChatGPT app. I'm using ChatGPT 4.0, which is moderately good for coding. And I'm just going to give this a simple prompt, and I'll use my voice to type it out so that I don't have to type so much. Okay, I'm creating a Python interface using TKInterface. I would like a 500 pixel wide window by 400 tall. Inside that, there should be two frames dividing it into a left half and a right half. Inside the left frame, I want 5 input boxes. They should be labeled noun 1, noun 2, adjective, verb 1, and verb 2. Below the input boxes should be a button. On the right-hand frame, I would like a label for displaying text, period. Please make the interface for me. Okay, so 50 seconds of dictation. It's thinking, and there it has converted me to text, so I can proofread that. It looks good. Now, keep in mind that I have at least a minimal amount of information. I know what to call things. I know that they're called frames. I know what the windows are called. I know what the different things, the different widgets are called. But look at what we've got here. So if I copy this, let's see what we get. So if I paste that just as is, oops, I should run the correct thing here. Let's run that. That is not too bad. Now, it made some assumptions based on some things that I've done in the past. Clearly, I've done some Mad Libs coding or talked about it in the past, and ChatGPT tends to remember that, but it could infer what I was doing by what I was creating here. And now, this is a pretty good interface. Now, all I have to do is create the functions that go with this, but also I might tell it, yeah, that's too narrow on this side. So let's just take one more pass at this and say, please, and do not work with PyCharm, please make the window 300 pixels wider so the right pane has more space. Make the background of the right frame a light blue color. Okay, so I'm taking another pass at it. And this is how you want to work with ChatGPT. You want to think of it as a conversation rather than putting in your order at a fast food restaurant and getting what you get back. You want to work with it to create something. So I'm creating this, or co-creating, I should say. And there's my interface. And now I can start working on the functions that go with this. Or I can easily, if I want to, I can add more fields here or whatever I want to do. And what I'm saying to you is that it's important to know how these things work because that allows you to communicate effectively with a tool like ChatGPT. But in terms of prototyping and even getting pretty far down the road to creating a good interface, you can see that this does a great job. And the code that it creates, right? Now it's using Pack here. Pack is not something that we've done. I'm going to say use grid instead of Pack so that it will create that using a grid geometry manager rather than a Pack geometry manager. Pack is fine. Grid is really preferable. And that way we can understand by looking at this what we're doing. So if I copy and paste that again, should be roughly the same. Okay, so we're a little bit more compact. We've got a little bit of a padding issue here on the right-hand side, but we're using grid now. And you can see where it's gridding the things. And it's using columns and rows and things like that. So there's nothing here really that we didn't already cover. And because I've already played around with this, it decided to go ahead and make the function for me. So it'll actually do a Mad Libs for me. So I can substitute mine in pretty easily there. But so this is a great way, and I wanted to demonstrate ChatGPT prototyping for you because this is a tool that we have as programmers to use. It is way more advanced than spell check, but it's basically, people are saying a lot of the same things about spell check and grammar check, or about AI that people said about spell check and grammar check 20 years ago. If you do this, you're not going to learn. No, that's not true. If you want to do this well, you still have to learn. You still have to understand how things work. But if you want to save yourself some time, if you want to increase your productivity or expand what you can do or learn faster, this is a viable way of doing things. And I want it to be part of your vocabulary as programmers because you need to know how to do this. Should you have ChatGPT generate the whole assignment for you? Not really. I mean, you won't learn anything. It's not going to be useful for you. But should you give it a shot and see what it does and then learn by going through it and reverse engineering it and tweaking that code? Absolutely. That's a viable tool. You will never have an employer ever who says, don't use all the tools you can to make your code as good as possible or to get this work done as fast as possible. This is a tool. Learn to use it. Learn to use it responsibly, and don't let it undermine your own learning because you have to be, listen, a modern 747 is a very advanced piece of machinery. We would all agree on that, right? But do you think I could get into a 747 and fly it well right now? No, of course not. So you want to have the skills to pilot the plane well because you don't want to be turning out crap with ChatGPT. But it is worth learning. It is worth exploring. And this is a perfect assignment for this, mostly because the act of creating a user interface that has a lot of fields is very repetitive. It's a repetitive process. It's very detail oriented, and getting you part of the way there by creating these widgets for you and placing them on the window is really helpful. And as you could probably see, that the AI intelligence that's built into PyCharm sometimes was helpful as I was coding, and sometimes it puts the wrong thing out there, and then I have to go back and fix it. And ChatGPT is no different. Okay, you cannot trust anything it does out of the box without looking at it. You do need to know and understand how this stuff works, but it's a great way of learning. It's a great way of increasing your productivity, and it's a great way to prototype stuff.